In late 1997, California was literally falling into the ocean while fires consumed the tropical rainforests of Indonesia. Millions of dead fish washed up on South American beaches, and warm water sharks suddenly started vacationing off the freezing coast of San Francisco. People thought the apocalypse was starting, but the culprit was actually just a gigantic blob of warm ocean water floating lazily in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It wiped out crops, shifted entire jet streams, and caused over $50 billion in global destruction. But to understand how a mild ocean breeze can quietly dismantle human civilization every few decades, we need to go back to the beginning. For centuries, Peruvian fishermen noticed that every few years around Christmas, the ocean water would turn mysteriously warm. The fish would vanish, but tropical birds would arrive, so they named this warm water current El Niño, which means the Christ child in Spanish. It sounded sweet, almost festive, but nobody realized that this warm ocean water was actually the trigger for global atmospheric chaos. Under normal conditions, trade winds blow warm water toward Asia, keeping cold, nutrient-rich ocean water near South America. But when those trade winds weaken, that warm water sloshes back toward America, like a giant sloshing bathtub. That tiny shift in wind alters cloud formations and throws the entire planet's climate machinery completely out of balance. By the late 19th century, humanity believed modern science had mastered the Earth. Then came the brutal year of 1877. Out of nowhere, the monsoons in India completely failed, leaving farmland baked into cracked concrete. At the exact same time, northern China experienced its worst drought in recorded history, while severe water shortages struck Brazil, Australia, and parts of Africa. Empires assumed these were just unfortunate local bad luck stories. British colonial administrators in India even insisted that market forces would solve the food shortages, refusing to stop grain exports. They had no idea that a single ocean mechanism was simultaneously starving tens of millions of people across 4 separate continents at the exact same moment. The 1877 disaster resulted in the Great Famine, killing an estimated 19 million to 50 million people worldwide. Entire villages disappeared from map records, yet scientists at the time treated each country's climate disaster as an isolated coincidence. Nobody could accept that a single weather system could connect a drought in China to a flood in South America. A mysterious scientific puzzle was left unsolved for decades, because who would ever believe that air pressure over Tahiti had anything to do with rainfall over the rivers of India? But a brilliant British mathematician was about to risk his entire academic reputation to prove that the global weather map was secretly tied together by invisible threads. In the 1920s, Sir Gilbert Walker took over the observatory in India and began crunching mountain loads of climate numbers by hand. He discovered that when atmospheric pressure went up in the eastern Pacific, it dropped in the Indian Ocean, and vice versa. He called this atmospheric seesaw the Southern Oscillation when he published his findings, claiming ocean pressure in Tahiti predicted rainfall in Asia. His scientific colleagues openly mocked him. They claimed his correlations were pure coincidence and dismissed his theories for 40 years. It was not until the late 1960s that scientist Jacob Bjerknes finally connected Walker's atmospheric seesaw directly to the warm ocean current in Peru, revealing the unified beast we now call ENSO. Fast forward to 1982. Mankind now had supercomputers, weather satellites, and advanced radar arrays. Forecasters proudly believed no global weather anomaly could ever catch them off guard again. Then a massive volcano called El Tichon erupted in Mexico, shooting dense volcanic dust high into the stratosphere. That dust blocked the infrared sensors on ocean monitoring satellites. The computer software assumed the weird sensor readings were just errors and filtered them out. Meanwhile, deep in the Pacific, a colossal El Niño was brewing completely undetected. By the time forecasters realized their satellite data was totally wrong, the global weather monster had already broken out of its cage and was wrecking the planet. The 1982 ocean event blindsided the world, causing severe bushfires in Australia, unprecedented floods in Ecuador, and wiping out nearly 2,000 lives worldwide. Weather agencies were thoroughly embarrassed. If you are enjoying this dive into history's hidden disasters, drop a like and subscribe to join our crew. To ensure they were never caught off guard again, scientists spent millions building a vast network of ocean buoys across the Pacific Ocean, known as the TAO array. These high-tech floating sensors were designed to monitor ocean temperature in real time and sound the alarm months before El Niño could strike again. Humanity finally had an early warning defense system against the climate monster. Despite all the shiny new technology, nature still loves showing us who is boss. In 1997, the buoy network started flashing red alerts. Ocean temperatures in the tropical Pacific soared to unprecedented highs, giving birth to what meteorologists openly called the Godzilla El Niño. It remains one of the most powerful weather events in recorded history. Global temperatures shattered records, and extreme weather left $57 billion in economic destruction in its wake. In South America, desert regions that had not seen rain in decades suddenly transformed into raging mud rivers. Meanwhile, millions of seabirds abandoned their starving chicks on Pacific Islands as warm water wiped out their fish supply. The Godzilla event created weather chaos so bizarre that it sounded like fiction. The driest desert on Earth, the Atacama in Chile, sprouted a sudden ocean of vibrant wildflowers. In Indonesia, massive forest fires burned out of control, creating a toxic blanket of smoke that choked entire neighboring countries. Hurricanes formed in unusual parts of the Pacific, while normal hurricane seasons in the Atlantic virtually vanished. Scientists realized that El Niño does not just change local rain patterns, it literally rewires the planetary jet stream. It acts like a giant atmospheric bowling ball, throwing the world's weather pins into complete disarray and leaving humans scrambling to adapt to the unpredictable strikes. Now, let us look at what is unfolding right in front of us. Climate scientists at NOAA have issued a major forecast warning for the year 2026. Their computer models indicate an 81% probability that a very strong El Niño event will develop, peaking between October and December of 2026. Because global baseline ocean temperatures are already warmer than ever recorded in human history, this upcoming cycle could supercharge climate anomalies worldwide. We are looking at potential extreme heat waves, massive agricultural disruptions, and historic shifts in global rainfall patterns. The Pacific Ocean current is warming up once again, preparing to spin the global weather wheel for billions of people. Why does this single weather pattern keep catching human society off guard, century after century? Modern civilization is built entirely on the assumption that climate patterns remain stable and predictable. We build cities, design power grids, and establish agricultural trade routes based on normal historical weather averages. But El Niño reminds us that normal is just a temporary phase. When ocean heat rearranges atmospheric jet streams, global food markets feel the shockwave in days. Grain prices spike, water reservoirs empty, and supply chains break. We spend billions treating individual flood or drought emergencies, often ignoring the gigantic ocean mechanism, quietly heating up thousands of miles off the coast. This 500-year history reveals a surprisingly relevant truth about human nature. We tend to focus entirely on immediate, local problems while completely ignoring the invisible, interconnected systems working behind the scenes. In the 1870s, leaders blamed poor local management for droughts, completely missing the ocean shift connecting 4 continents. In the 1980s, expert scientists trusted filtered computer data over raw natural reality. Today, we often make the exact same mistake by assuming our modern technological infrastructure makes us immune to natural forces. True resilience requires us to look beyond our immediate surroundings, accept ecological reality, and prepare for invisible forces long before they arrive on our shores. The ocean is already preparing its next major move, and whether we are ready or not, history promises it will be a wild ride. The real question is whether humanity will finally listen to the warnings or be caught surprised all over again. If you enjoyed learning how a warm ocean current silently shaped 500 years of human history, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment below telling us which wild history story or bizarre natural event we should animate next.